My name is Tenecca with Lincoln Heritage Funeral Advantage, and this morning I will be talking a little bit about how funerals work and how it's good to protect your family. But a little bit about me, for the people who don't know me. I am married with my husband. I have 3 kids. We originally from Moore, Oklahoma, and we moved here due to a job transfer. What brought us here. All of our kids are grown. They all, the baby's getting ready to leave for the Air Force in a few weeks.
Good job.
The middle child is in college in Chicago, and then the oldest one is in Oklahoma and stationed in the Army right now.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. I'll tell you what made me passionate about what I do. Give you a little story. My father had a stroke last November, and I am the only child, and he suffered really bad where he could no longer care for himself. So I ended up having to take on that responsibility of caring for him. Along the way, I learned that my father didn't have any type of assets, no life insurance, no burial plans, or any of that nature. So I had to start from scratch with taking care of my father. And so that was a little bit of an eye-opening for me. I kind of just realized that, wow, you know, I really have to be financially responsible for my father. And I kept thinking over and over, what would have happened financially for me if he didn't make it. He's been near death 3 times since his stroke. So that kind of changed my perspective of what I can do to try to help others for making sure the same thing doesn't happen to them and they don't get into a financial burden. So I did pass around a couple of papers that I wanted to go over with you. The first one, I'm going to go in order according to what you guys have. The first one I have, it says things you need to know. This is the rule of the funeral services. It says the funeral rule of 1984 protects your rights. So in general, it says funeral consumer guardian society, it believes in its best interest of families everywhere to be aware of the consumer rights as stated in this important law. The law was enacted in 1984 to stop funeral homes from persuading people to buy goods and services they do not want or need and charging them highly marketed up prices on these items they did want. General pricing, you see the funeral home must provide a dated price listed. Telephone prices, sometimes you call in, don't get any accurate information. Casket prices, funeral homes are required to show the casket price, and if you ask about it, you can call, they're required to give that to you. Itemized goods, once arrangements have been made, funeral home must be given a statement itemizing each service and each product chosen, their separate costs and total costs. Embalming, how embalming works. The casket, the funeral home can't refuse a casket bought from an outside source or charge a handling fee. Preservation and protective claims is another thing listed on here. Just kind of briefly going over this. Life insurance is the most important, efficient, and trusted ways to finance final expenses. Benefit goes directly to the beneficiary. Most people know that. No federal costs or insurance benefits in most cases. Proceeds are not tied to any one of the funeral industries provided. Instead, the money can be used anywhere in the world. Okay. Life insurance may help family members avoid probate costs. And then another interesting thing is the shipping remains for burial elsewhere in the U.S. can increase funeral costs by $2,000. This statement is really true. A lot of people don't know that that is an extra expense. So if you happen to have someone that you have to put away, sometimes they want to go home to wherever they originally were born and stuff, and that's an extra expense that is picked up to transport that body there, not only with just having the services, so that is extra on top of that. People who retire out of state but wish to be buried back home someday should make sure their funding arrangements will cover the cost for additional. Also, people, if they die overseas or on vacation but travel, we still gotta get them back home. So that's another reason that to have, think about the extra expense. Insurance benefits also often go unclaimed because the beneficiaries simply do not know about the policy or couldn't find it. This is true. I actually had a client that I tried to get them to take care of their financial needs with their family before that happens. And it just so happened that they end up passing away, and the information that was left, they end up calling me, okay? And the family member did. They said, hey, I found this folder with this information. My family member has passed away. What can we do to get your policy? Well, we had to tell them, unfortunately, they didn't make the decision to take care of their plans in advance, so they didn't get anything from us, which was hard. It was very hard to tell them that, but that's why we stress the importance of taking care of your finances, in advance, okay? How many people have you heard of or spoke with that didn't really know if their parents or loved ones had a policy? You just knew, you got a phone call one day and they just passed away and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do or what they had occurred. Okay, that does happen a lot. It does happen a lot. Okay, going forward, I'm going to discuss the funeral cost estimates. Depending on the states, what happens is the cost generates differently for each state, the price of services. So some of the funeral costs that can be included as far as expenses go is the funeral services, caskets, transportation, clothing and flowers. Some people don't really realize that is an expense as well. Other burial containers, cemetery property, grave opening and closing, that's important too. Monuments or marker, newspapers, notices, unpaid medical expenses, outstanding debts, probate costs, and legal fees. So all of these can help when you're paying for the services to, leave for your loved ones to have a little bit extra left to pay off any of these unexpected costs that may be left behind. And then on here you have the funeral, the traditional. There's some people that like traditional burials, which is just having a simple service and then providing, going to the cemetery, whether it be for the opening and closing. Some people prefer to have a memorial, so that's why I have the cremation on the back. Okay, so we have 50-50 people, depending on how they feel. Some people prefer to just be cremated. You do have the option to just be cremated and go straight to, when you pass away, go from the hospital straight to cremation. Or you have the option to have just a memorial service that has your picture on it, so that family can still, have their time with you to grieve. Or you can just have it where the body is still viewed. You have complete services and then cremation occurs afterwards. Okay. Our claims, so they just vary according to this, on which one they really have. Now, one of the things I want to bring out that I did learn was that even if you're cremated, you can still get buried in the cemetery if you want. They have it set up where people are allowed to get buried in containers. They have monuments that's set up, so it's kind of like a little box where you're able to still put your loved ones' things in just to be remembered and reviewed. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention was the funeral advantage. This is what I go over with my clients mostly. And what this is just a cash benefit with how we work. You get a cash benefit for providing the insurance. Benefits are paid within 24 hours. Okay. It is a whole life policy. No health questions is available. Guys, the application process right here, this is the application process. It is 1 page long. And they just do a simple yes or no to the questions that are asked. Okay, when we cover everyone that has, whether they have cancer, kidney problems, diabetes, any of that, we help them, we cover them in ways that will be beneficial to them, okay? Accidental death coverage is available for them. It's only $1 to purchase this with their policies. And if you notice here at the bottom, we have it where you also can get for active war or terrorism. A lot of policies don't offer that, and that is something that is available for people that's in the military. The last thing I wanted to mention is that we do help people that are in the military. The veterans, the families don't really realize that they cover, the military does cover the burial, the opening and closing of the grave, as well as the casket purchase. But what about the expenses of actually having a funeral home, funeral services, or transportation for funeral services? That's the type of things that are not covered, and we stress that with the veterans' families to cover that as well for the unexpected costs that the military don't cover. Okay, that is my time. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to talk to me or ask any questions you have. Again, my name is Tenecca. Yes, ma'am.
What's the age limit for the whole life policy? I mean, does it cover you up to age 85? Or
No,
does it cover you up till
the
death?
age limit of the policy covers up until age 100.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is there an age at which coverage is not offered?
No, it's all the way from 0 to age 85.
So if someone is over 85, then they can't get this?
No, they have to be 85 when they're purchasing it.
Okay.
Really life insurance, but it is,
Huh?
you can't really life insure anybody at 85.
Well, they're already pretty hard.
It's hard.
They're statistically dead.
You gotta have a lot of money, I'm saying that.
That's exactly what it is.
Any other questions?
All right,
Yes.
so I've heard about these things that you can become a diamond when you're dead. Instead of being cremation, have you heard of that?
A diamond?
Yeah, where they take your body and just make it into a diamond.
I've heard of that, yeah.
They take the car.
That would be cool, yeah.
Yeah,
Diamond
make a
diamond.
CV out of it.
It's easy.
I have heard of that.
Gary said it's the biggest diamond. He's 6'6".
That's so funny.
Someone's finger next to the rest of your life.